It's obvious to anybody with a brain that Elon Musk is not a checker player. He is a chess player. Our job is to annihilate their competition. Incapable of getting the job done. They can't see what's going on. They think somehow everything is going to go back to the way it was. And so consequently, they make huge bad decisions. Everyone knows that Tesla just sold 100,000 Model 3s to Hertz, and that was a $4.2 billion sale a few days ago. Let's put that into perspective. General Motors has sold about 100,000 Bolts since 2016. That's ponderous. And by the way, some of you may not have heard that. That's 2016. That's 6 years. And they lost about $1 billion on that big deal because of the battery fires. But this is huge, huge. Not only for Tesla, but for the whole car industry. Tesla going into, we look at profits in car industries in like single digits. Insurance companies, They 30-40% profits. I mean, they're huge. And Tesla's going into that business. But I'll bet you right now, Tesla's got a bunch of people working on how they're going to go into the commercial and homeowners insurance. I guarantee you that Tesla is going to be rolling in dough that the other car companies couldn't even think of or will never think of.
Hey, I'm Stephen and this is Solving the Money Problem. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. So in today's video, we are featuring the GOAT, the engineering expert of experts, Sandy Munro, discussing how Tesla is completely annihilating the competition. Elon Musk is playing 4D chess, some hugely important insights into the Hertz Tesla deal, and a massive high confidence prediction. Sandy Munro absolutely adamant that Tesla will get into home insurance in the future. By the way, guys, just wanted to give a special shout out and a big thank you to everybody who's picked up some merch on the merch store to support the channel. I've just seen that the Don't Bet Against Elon merch design has sold over 1,000 units, which is understandable. After all, these are words of wisdom. And some great news, this design is now available on a number of new products, including mugs, sweatshirts, phone cases, tough cases for phones, and plenty more. So if you're interested, check out the link in the description. These obviously are great to buy for yourself. And if you happen to know anybody who's currently short Tesla stock, aka brain cells, what a great Christmas gift. So with that said, let's get into the video. If you love crypto, stocks, and free stuff, or just want to help out the channel, check out these great offers. BlockFi are launching the world's first Bitcoin rewards credit card. People in the US can earn 1.5% Bitcoin back on every purchase with no annual fee using the BlockFi Bitcoin rewards credit card. Check out the link in the description. And for a limited time, you can get up to $250 in crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, where you can use cryptocurrency to earn interest, borrow cash, and buy or sell crypto. If you want your free crypto, use the link in the description. And if you'd like up to 2 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account, you'll get 1 free stock valued up to $300 just for opening an account. And if you make an initial deposit of $5 or more, you'll get a second free stock valued up to $2,000. Seriously. Free stocks? Yes, please. And finally, if you're in Australia, the UK, or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake, also linked in the description. Thanks so much for your support, guys. Let's get back to it.
It's obvious to anybody with a brain that Elon Musk is not a checker player. He is a chess player.
Damn, son. Savage Sandy spitting facts.
And sometimes those pieces of his puzzle or his game are not quite as obvious to everyone as maybe what they should be. Americans in general kind of are checker players. They don't usually look too far ahead, and they almost never look at what actions today might be impacting something tomorrow. A good example is the car industry in total. They're reacting. They were not proactive, and so consequently now what they're doing is they're trying to be reactive.
Sandy has absolutely hit the nail on the head with this point. Just think about what's happening in the automotive industry globally right now, in particular in the United States, but practically everywhere outside of China as well. Tesla has single-handedly forced the entire auto industry into scramble mode because Tesla took the risks. Tesla had the vision, the brains, the foresight, and the balls to actually pursue an EV strategy, knowing that with economies of scale, battery costs would come down. This technology is very early. They'll become cost competitive and then even cheaper, even better value than internal combustion engine vehicles. It's obviously the way of the future. They were proactive. They invested heavily, aggressively. In 2014, they announced the Gigafactory. They got laughed at the time. Oh yeah, as if you're going to make 500,000 cars a year in 2020, dickheads. Obviously, we know how that panned out. Meanwhile, the entire automotive industry completely ignores this silly little company called Tesla. And as a result of that, now they are scrambling, desperately, reacting just to stay in business. And spoiler alert, it's too late for most of them anyway.
Now, a bunch of happens when you get into a reactive mode. And the two things that I need to talk to you a little bit about before I start talking is, one, paradigm shifts. Now, Munro and Associates works with a lot of companies, and we don't help our companies catch up or get as good as their competition. Our job is to annihilate their competition.
You know, this might be the favorite thing I've heard Sandy Munro say. Gives some great insights into his mindset and how he operates his business.
So, we have a hat that we give out every once in a while, and sometimes we wear, and it says, basically, concerning paradigms, shift happens with Munro. And we're into a paradigm shift. A big one, a huge one, the biggest one that may have been around since the Industrial Revolution.
Well, I completely agree, and you know who else agrees? Tony Seba. And guess who else agrees? That's right, Cathie Wood. And the troubling thing is, most people, most investors in the stock market, most people managing money for others, most investment banks, most Wall Street stock analysts, in fact, most people, period, don't realize this is happening.
And what's going to happen is you're going to see a lot of psychological issues that are going to pop up. And the big one is paradigm paralysis. So paradigm paralysis, if you really want to get into this, you can find a guy named Joel Barker's books. He is, without a question of a doubt, the expert on this sort of stuff. But I've seen it happen over and over and over again. When people with strongly held rules and regulations are confronted by a new situation, in this case the EV kind of world, they are physiologically incapable of getting the job done.
Just want to give a very special shout out to literally every single automotive analyst on Wall Street who didn't and still doesn't understand Tesla. And of course, even the Tesla bulls on Wall Street, shout out to Morgan Stanley, currently with a $1,200 base case price target for Tesla stock and a significantly higher bull case, who still, moronically, can't even see what's happening and think in their most recent research report literally predicted 40% of new vehicles sold in 2030 will be electric. I mean, how high are these guys? I mean, don't get me started on the morons over at Toyota who still today are publicly stating, well, we don't really know if electric vehicles will be the main technology that people adopt in the future, so we're going to explore hydrogen and 469,000 other strategies as well because we don't really know that EVs will be the future.
They can't see what's going on. They think somehow everything is going to go back to the way it was. And so consequently, they make huge bad decisions. The other thing that you need to know about is that's at the top of the house. There's going to be something else that's happening, and that something else is the rise of the Luddites. I said that, quite frankly, this type of a change hasn't happened in a long time. The last time I believe it happened was the Industrial Revolution, when people suddenly found out that machines could take the place of somebody knitting a sweater in a cottage someplace in England. These machines were attacked by the locals because they saw them as some sort of a threat.
By the way, in case anyone's wondering, the Luddites actually happened. They were a bunch of textile workers, got super mad because some new machines were going to do a much better, faster, more efficient job than they were. Therefore, they no longer have employment. What did they do? Massive protest and destroyed a bunch of machines. Now, just thinking out loud here, but can you guys imagine if, say, instead of better textile machines, something came along, a new technology, maybe electric vehicles, a company like Tesla comes along? Would there possibly be an incentive for some of these Luddites, maybe makers of inferior technology that pollutes the internal combustion engine? Could there possibly be an incentive for them to do whatever they can to attempt to destroy this new technology, Tesla? If such a situation were to play out, maybe we might see things like misinformation in the media, the spreading of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, political corruption, bribery, bias incentives that help the Luddites versus the new entrant who's going to destroy the Luddites, these kind of things. Of course, none of this would ever happen because the world is very honest and ethical, but just hypothetically speaking, it's an interesting scenario to imagine, isn't it? You may also see people being paid to have sham research firms claiming that this new competitor, it's a terrible company, you short the stock, they'll never succeed. You may also have organized attacks on people who are supporting this new company, this new technology as well. But of course, again, this is all just hypothetical. None of that would actually happen in the real world.
At the end of the day, we see the same thing happen, or we've seen the same thing happen when you look at just people refusing to use computers and things like that in my era a long time ago. Those people, those Luddites, wound up basically at the side of the road wondering what happened. If you combine the two things, the paradigm paralysis that you're seeing with the auto industry currently, and you compare that, or you add that to the Luddite mentality, and then on top of everything else, you've got you've got the situation where you're thinking like a checker player, but the game is chess. This is where Elon Musk is going to capitalize, or is capitalizing right now, and I'm going to try and fill in the blanks because the news doesn't really tell you everything that's going on.
Sandy, are you telling me that the news doesn't accurately convey reality, doesn't paint an unbiased picture of what's happening in the world? I just can't believe this. It's too much of a stretch. It's just not possible, Sandy. I mean, how am I supposed to know what to believe, what to think, what to be angry about, what to be outraged about? How am I supposed to know what to be scared about and how fearful I should be? I just don't believe it. I mean, obviously the news, it's their job to tell us the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, right? Sandy's out of his mind. I don't know what he's talking about. I mean, the news is the most unbiased, reliable source of accurate information on Earth, obviously. I mean, it's not like there's any misaligned incentives.
So with that in mind, I'd like to tell you what everyone knows. Everyone knows that Tesla just sold 100,000 Model 3s to Hertz, and that was a $4.2 billion sale a few days ago. Let's put that into perspective. General Motors has sold about 100,000 Bolts since 2016. That's ponderous. And by the way, some of you may not have heard that. That's 2016. That's 6 years. And they lost about $1 billion on that big deal because of the battery fires.
That really puts things in perspective, doesn't it? Now, if you're a regular viewer of the channel, you'll already have heard my thoughts on GM. They're screwed. They're absolutely screwed. Incompetent leadership, no vision, no foresight, no awareness whatsoever. They're acting out of sheer desperation. They partnered with Nikola Motor, took an equity stake in what was an obvious fraud of a company, allegedly, announced this huge big deal about a fake truck, the Badger, that literally existed just to pump up the stock price, which I was calling out on YouTube months before GM announced this deal. Then later, Trevor Milton goes down, fraud charges, blah, 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 blah. Next minute, GM quietly back away from the deal. And that's not the only misstep they've taken recently out of sheer desperation. They also had a partnership with Fraudstown Motors. Same story as Nikola. You wouldn't believe it.
Why did Hertz buy Tesla? And why would they ever make a deal like that? So let's ask ourselves a few questions. One of them is, what's the 5 major expenses of owning a vehicle, regardless of whether you're Hertz or yourself? Car payments is the number 1. Number 2 is vehicle depreciation. The minute you drive it off the lot, it's worth less. Fuel or energy costs, insurance with personal injury protection, and maintenance of the vehicle. Those are the 5 big things. But guess what? When you buy a Model S, like we did, we bought it in March of 2021 for $45,000, and now it's selling for $53,000 to $58,000. If you bought a 2021 Chevy Bolt, it would have cost you $37,000, but now you can sell it for $23,000 to $26,000. That's how you see things depreciating. When we look at all of the different things that were on this list, like let's talk about fuel and energy costs. It's cheaper to to run an electric car on fuel. I'm going to talk about the insurance last, and then maintenance. Maintenance is next to zero. Now, I got a report from some jamokes, I don't know who they got paid by, but they're saying that there's a $500 increase in maintenance if you happen to have an electric vehicle. I don't know who paid these guys off, like I said, but that is totally incorrect. We have paid nothing on our electric vehicle, zero maintenance.
So I just want to take a quick moment here. Great use of the term jamoke. Haven't heard that in a long time from Sandy Munro. But Sandy has a point here. Some of you might be thinking, well, he's kind of exaggerating. They're just dumbasses. They don't really understand the cost of ownership. No. Anyone who has a brain who actually looks into the cost of ownership, maintenance, etc. for electric vehicle will come to the same conclusion. They are significantly cheaper to own than an equivalent ICE vehicle, which means the only conclusion here, as Sandy pointed out, is these morons were paid off to say something that wasn't true. Shout out to the Luddites.
I have no clue who these characters are, but they don't know anything about an electric vehicle. The last one is insurance and personal injury protection. That's going to be, I'm saving that right for the very end, because that is going to be the ultimate cash cow for Tesla. So let's talk a little bit more about this on this little event that happened with Hertz. It wasn't big news, but on yesterday, Hertz announced that they may be buying an additional 100,000 vehicles in response to the general public and Uber's responses. This is where checker players don't quite understand what's going on. This deal, 200,000 vehicles sold, is at a price that's unheard of. These aren't discounted. They're the real Model 3 prices.
This is an incredibly important point and something that I discussed at the announcement of this deal. The fact that Hertz paid market price for 100,000 Tesla Model 3s, they spent more than $4 billion and didn't get a cent off their purchase. Why is this the case? Well, one, Tesla has so much demand, they're in a position of power, a position of strength. They don't need to offer discounts. They'll sell every vehicle they make for years to come anyway, so they don't need this order from Hertz. It's not going to help the business meaningfully. But more importantly than that, from the Hertz point of view, this is just a financially obvious decision. Hertz doesn't need to get a discount because this is such a great value deal. The total cost of maintenance is so much lower than ICE vehicles. There's a million reasons. There's far less depreciations, on and on and on and on. The long story short is that Hertz would be morons not to buy these at market price. Now, sure, it'd be cool if they could get a discount, but there's no other comparable deal out there. Even paying market price on 100,000 vehicles from Tesla is the best possible deal that was available. It's literally a no-brainer, and this speaks volumes. And it also sells volumes. Get it? Because f*** my life.
This means that Tesla is going to make a tremendous amount of money, but why would Hertz pay a thing? Because, as John McElroy said on Autoline Detroit, the Tesla deal with Hertz is a huge embarrassment for the traditional automakers. The paradigm is changing so significantly that the guys in marketing and sales for all the other OEMs are probably having a heart attack or at least wondering what the future is going to hold for them. So what are the strong points in this deal that aren't quite as obvious? Well, let's do the obvious ones first. Hertz is golden in the eyes of rental car companies now. I may even start using them. I stopped using Hertz a long time ago because, quite frankly, their service was terrible and on and on. And that's why they went bankrupt. When the cars get old, they're going to be selling those vehicles through Carvana. Now, what's good about that is that there's no more selling at a discount. So they usually buy at a discount and sell at a discount, and in between they try and make money. Well, Uber is the one area that they're going to make a huge amount of money. And actually, I think that Uber is going to be the biggest beneficiary of the deal. With 50,000 Model 3s, I believe they're going to be getting 100,000 Model 3s now of the Hertz fleet. They're going to be able to rent to Uber, Hertz is. They're going to be able to rent to Uber. The guys at Uber are going to get a cash flow as good as it can be. So what? I mean, really, what does that mean? It means that Uber can get more rides for its drivers because of the status associated in driving a clean, quiet, luxury Tesla. If Uber buys the cars, they'll need to pay significant taxes, and the drivers now become employees, which counters the whole philosophy behind their business model. But guess what? They aren't. So that means that they're going to put more money in their pocket and less taxes will be paid to everybody else. The drivers get a better deal on the cost of the maintenance, the fuel, and they get a kickback from Uber just because they're using Teslas. Now they don't have to pay for all the maintenance and all the other things that are going on with a conventional vehicle. What's the hidden advantages? Well, this proves that no Detroit 3 could consummate this kind of a deal. So the hidden problem here is that if let's say one of the other car company or one of the other rental companies came along and said, hey, we want 100,000 vehicles, who could supply them? Nobody. And how long would it take? Forever. Hertz goes from a bankrupt write-off to the top of the heap, and that's because of Tesla. Tesla did that. By adding their name, they went to the moon in overnight. Consumers, this is another one that people don't quite get. The way to make sales is to get bums on seats. You have to get somebody in the car to try it out, to make it so that you can feel comfortable with it. And now, consumers get to drive Teslas with no buyer's remorse and no risk. They get in, they can drive it around, they can try it out. It's the absolute best way to sell cars.
Hugely important point. And in the context of the Hertz and now the Hertz Uber deal, this is massive. As I've said 1 trillion times on this channel, the more Teslas Tesla sells, the more Teslas Tesla sells. And that is because Tesla owners are great salespeople. They love their vehicles. They'll get all their friends and family, hey, come on, let me give you a ride in the Tesla. It's sick. Next minute, their friend gets in the vehicle and goes, holy shit, I'm going to buy a Tesla. Well, here's the thing. Hertz is a rental company. They have 100,000 Teslas on order. When there's 100,000 Tesla vehicles for people to rent short-term on Hertz, this means every year there are going to be millions upon millions of people, literally millions of people experiencing a Tesla for the first time. I don't know what the average rental period is for a Hertz vehicle. Probably 3-4 days, maybe something like that over a long weekend or a few days here and there on average. This means for every one Tesla in the Hertz rental fleet in a single year, there are going to be dozens of customers who experience a Tesla in that one vehicle. This has a huge multiplying effect. In addition, if Hertz are actually renting part of that fleet to Uber, think about how many passengers will get in an Uber Tesla for the very first time and get to experience what it's like to be in a Tesla and then ultimately purchase a Tesla. This is going to be bananas.
And it used to be a big deal for all the other auto companies. In fact, most of the auto companies, Hertz used to be owned by Ford, but they gave it up because they couldn't see value. They couldn't see the profit in it right away. But it used to be that's how you got bums on seats. The bums on seats philosophy says that it's 50% of the sale if you can get them to sit in your car. But the one that I thought was the best, and we'll play the little clip, is Tom Brady. The Tom Brady play, I'm calling it. People buy cars based on heroes, and most people have heard of football, and Brady is big on saving the planet. He owns a Model S. What did Tom Brady say? I've been driving an EV for years, and knowing Hertz is leading the way with their electric fleet sparks how the world's changing toward environmental and socially conscious. That's a big deal. People care about what Tom Brady says. And here's the deal. Perception's reality. If Tom Brady's driving one, then I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be a tremendous number of people that are going to want to buy their vehicle.
Sandy is spot on. And the crazy thing about this, Tesla has effectively outsourced their marketing and advertising department. Hertz are running paid advertising featuring Tom Brady promoting the fact that you can rent a Tesla with Hertz, okay? Tom Brady is being associated with the Tesla brand. Hertz are the ones doing this association and paying for the ads. It's insane.
Tesla is going into the insurance business. Now, that was the one that I didn't want to talk about at the end because this is the biggest deal around. This is the one where almost nothing is talked about, but this is huge, huge. Not only for Tesla, but for the whole car industry. Tesla going into, we look at profits in car industries in like single digits. Insurance companies, they 30-40% profits. I mean, they're huge, and Tesla's going into that business. This is going to be a fair and equitable system based on your driving, not some actuary's analysis of the general population. It's based on your driving month to month, and it doesn't factor in age, credit score, gender, marital status, or claims on history. You become a clean sheet every time you buy their insurance policy and basically drive a Tesla. If your score is high, your premium will be low. High as in you're a good driver. The sample range is shown on the slide below, and you can see that that this indicates the driver could pay as high as $130 a month in April, but his rate is down to $83 because he's started to, I don't know, do a better job driving. This eliminates the arbitrary young driver, old driver penalty. So this is how you can train people to be better drivers and bankrupt bad drivers. Get them to walk or get them to go somewhere else. Maybe they'll take Ubers. I don't know, but I'm really excited about getting rid of bad drivers.
I second this from Sandy. Honestly, bad drivers need to get the off our roads. And for those of you who are regular viewers of the channel, you'll have seen me discuss the opportunity with Tesla insurance in the past. It is literally worth hundreds of billions of dollars per year.
The rates that are already out there are 20 to 60% cheaper than traditional companies. And now some predictive news. Okay, so yesterday I was told that we can't get insurance on our building because we have batteries in it. What happens when you have a battery-powered vehicle in your garage? You're next. The insurance companies won't touch you. But I'll bet you right now, Tesla's got a bunch of people working on how they're going to go into the commercial and homeowners insurance. I guarantee you that Tesla is going to be rolling in dough that the other car companies couldn't even think of or will never think of.
Now, this is an absolutely huge prediction from Sandy Munro. Let me know in the comments below, do you agree? Do you think that Tesla is ultimately going to get into home, including commercial building insurance, or will they stick with just automotive insurance of their own vehicles? Let me know in the comments below. I was actually asked this question on my most recent Patreon Q&A, so I won't spoil the answer. Head over to Patreon. That Q&A should be live within a few hours of this video being published. Oh, and by the way, a special shout out to all of my new Patreon supporters. Almost 500 new Patreons this month. Obviously, a lot of people interested in gaining exclusive access to my Tesla stock price targets all the way out to 2031. Bear case, base case, and bull case. If you're not already on Patreon and you want to gain access to those, plus a bunch of exclusive Q&As and exclusive content, check out the card in the corner. So I hope you guys and girls have enjoyed this video. I think there were some great insights from Sandy Munro. Again, remember, this guy has been in the automotive industry for decades. He really understands what's happening. He's also a very smart, switched on, and well-read guy who can see and notice patterns, things that are occurring that others are completely oblivious to. As Sandy rightly pointed out, the entire legacy automotive industry at the moment are being reactive rather than proactive. Tesla has blown everybody away. They've forced the entire auto industry to transition to EVs. The problem is most of them are still blind not only to the inevitable change, but how quickly this is happening. This is the biggest disruption since the industrial age. An example of this reactivity from legacy automotive manufacturers is their periodic announcements. Oh, we're accelerating our plans to electric vehicles. We're increasing our investments into batteries, into this, into that, into the other. We were surprised by how quickly this change is happening. We're accelerating our plans even further, and this is going to be a recurring theme over and over and over until they go out of business. Funnily enough, of all the US-based legacy automotive manufacturers, I actually think Ford has the best chance of surviving the decade. I'm not saying it's a very high chance, but they seem to be doing some of the right things and realize how quickly things are happening and how quickly they need to act. Ford CEO Jim Farley recently tweeting this: "Thanks for leading the way," which was a retweet of an Elon Musk tweet. Quote, "The cemetery of automotive startups over the past century is very large and will get larger. Tesla and Ford are the only American car companies that haven't gone bankrupt." Now, the reason that this acknowledgement matters so much is because Jim Farley, Ford CEO, has publicly admitted that Tesla is leading the way. They are in the lead. Most legacy automotive manufacturers are either too dumb to realize this, I doubt it, or much more likely, they're just too spineless to say it out loud. But wait, there's more. A reply to this tweet from Munro Live. "We would love to have you on Munro Live." Guess what? Jim Farley responded, "Cool idea. I would learn a lot." This is promising. An acknowledgement of the actual leader in the EV space, credit being given where it's due, and a willingness to learn. I'm certainly not going to be buying Ford stock anytime soon, but this is promising. And just finally, if you're interested in the Don't Bet Against Elon merchandise, including the new mugs, phone cases, hoodies, sweatshirts, and more, check out the link in the description. And if you'd like to troll a few Tesla Q numbnuts, feel free to send them a wonderful Christmas gift with this important message. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan, this is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. And don't forget the BlockFi Bitcoin Rewards credit card, where you can earn 1.5% Bitcoin back on every purchase. There's a link in the description. You can also earn up to $250 in crypto bonuses when funding a new account on BlockFi, also linked below. And finally, don't forget your free stocks with WeBull and Stake, also linked in the description. These great offers also help out the channel. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. I read all your comments. P.S. If you're still watching, you're awesome. If you'd like early access, exclusive videos, regular Q&As, our private Discord server and more, consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/solvingthemoneyproblem so I can keep creating content for you guys. There's a link in the description. You can now also become a member of the channel for some exclusive perks. To learn more, click the join button next to subscribe. And don't forget to check out our merch store. Either way, the best form of support is you being here and watching, so thanks again.